morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. I'm Marit Stiles. I'm the leader of Ontario's official opposition NDP, and I'm here because we are going to be announcing today that we'll be giving this government an opportunity to vote yes to solving the mental health crisis in Ontario. We're putting forward a motion that recognizes what many people out there already know. Mental health is healthcare, and it's time that we treated it that way. Right now, too many Ontarians are struggling to access mental health care. They're stuck on wait lists, stuck navigating a system that treats mental health as an afterthought. And they're stuck worried about how much it's all going to cost. It's not just unfair, it's harmful. Imagine for a moment being in crisis. You're a parent, a young adult, or a senior desperately trying to access basic support like counseling or therapy. But instead of receiving care, you're told you're going to have to wait months, if not longer. And if you can't wait, you're told it will all cost you. That's the reality that too many Ontarians are facing today. Nobody should ever have to choose between paying their bills and accessing life-saving mental health care. But that's exactly the choice that too many people in our province have to make, and it's time we did something about it. Mental health is one of the most urgent issues in our province. Just ask anyone. In just a few years, the number of children and youth on mental health wait lists has more than doubled, from 12,000 to over 30,000. And in rural and northern communities, people are stuck waiting not just weeks, but sometimes years for mental health support. And when they can't get help, where do they end up? Emergency rooms. Emergency rooms that are stretched to the breaking point already. This is the cost of denying universal mental health care, a cost that falls on our hospitals, on our communities, and on individuals who are just trying to get through each day. We also need to talk about the real cost of doing nothing. Providing universal access to mental health care isn't just right, it's responsible. Studies are showing that timely mental health support reduces emergency room visits, prevents crises, and builds healthier communities. Our motion will ensure universal access to mental health care is provided, and it's about solutions rooted in empathy and led by evidence. It's about giving people the tools to address mental health challenges early before they reach a crisis. And here's the thing, we can do this. This isn't just about reinventing the wheel. We already have the foundation for universal mental health care right here in the province of Ontario. Community mental health agencies and interdisciplinary health teams are ready to deliver this care. They're just underfunded and overstretched. For decades, conservative and liberal governments have failed to support those agencies in providing the care that Ontarians need. We're calling for targeted investments to strengthen these teams so they can deliver high-quality mental health care all across the province. That means a 7% base budget increase for mental health and addictions and a 5% increase for community-governed health organizations. This is how we build capacity to start fixing the mental health crisis impacting so many people. Our community health centers, mental health agencies, and interdisciplinary care teams are ready to help. They just need a government that will invest in their success. We're giving the government the opportunity to do just that. And if they won't, then a new Democratic government will. When Tommy Douglas fought to make healthcare accessible for everyone, he envisioned a system built on fairness and dignity. And when Jack Layton pledged to keep trying, he did it because he knew it's what people deserve. Today, I'm choosing to continue that fight because mental health care is healthcare, and it's time we treated it that way. And with that, I'm really happy to introduce our mental health critic, Lisa Gretzky.
Thank you, Marit. I just want to emphasize the point that Marit made. We cannot afford to forego investments into mental health and addictions treatments in this province. In communities all around the province, every one of you here has seen it walking through your communities. We are in a crisis, and it is up to the government to ensure that they are making the investments needed so that people who need help can access that help in community when and where they need it. Marta talked about the wait time. It has actually almost tripled since the Conservatives have formed government. They've cut funding to community agencies that provide support. I believe it was 10 CMHAs. 10 CMHAs have managed in 2 years to divert almost 18,000 people away from an emergency department, which at a savings of about almost $8 million. And when you look at that, this is not only, in my opinion, the morally right thing to do to ensure that everyone has that timely, connected, at no cost access to mental health care treatments. It is actually the fiscally responsible thing to do. And so that is why, we look at it like this government is really failing on many of the basics that people in this province need, but especially when it comes to mental health and the mental health crisis that we're seeing in this province. And that is why today we are giving the government the opportunity to do the right thing, to invest in people that are in need, to invest in the people that provide those supports and services when people are in need, and to support our motion to ensure that mental health care is part of our universal health care system. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Lisa. And with that, we're happy to take any questions you might have.
Do you have any sense that the government is willing to support this?
Well, I won't say that we've had much success before, but, we are trying very hard here to come up with a motion and an approach that's realistic and doable because we want them to take action. As I said, an NDP government, if we're elected government, when we're elected government, we will act on this. But the government, the Conservative government, has an opportunity to do this right away. They have their fall economic statement coming out tomorrow. Or is it tomorrow or Wednesday? Wednesday. And it's that's like a mini budget, right? So this is their chance. They could start this process today. They could say yes, and then we can work on making it happen. And I got to say, as Lisa pointed out, there's nobody out there, I think, in the province of Ontario who doesn't see this mental health crisis, if not actually experiences in their own families. Everybody is struggling, but there is a crisis in communities all across Ontario.
Do you think the heart hubs that the government is opening across the province will help with this issue?
Do you want to answer that piece, the heart clubs, or do you want me to help? I can do that. Okay. Heart hubs. Yeah.
So the issue that we're hearing from the providers of mental health care, the community-based providers of mental health care, is that this government has actually they've not seen a base increase in funding in some cases several decades. And now they're being asked to compete for dollars with other agencies, and in some cases, those that are just starting. So they haven't been in community, they haven't been providing supports and services and don't have that same length of experience. So they're actually being asked to compete for dollars. That is not a direction that we should be going. The direction we should be going is the province properly fund community-based supports, ensuring that anybody at any time at no cost can have access to a psychologist, a psychotherapist, a social worker, a mental health nurse, right in their community, and that those health teams or those interdisciplinary teams are properly funded so that those frontline workers are paid a proper wage and will stay within the sector. Right now, they're leaving the sector. They're going somewhere else because they are being disrespected by this government. They are underpaid. The work is incredibly physically, mentally, and emotionally difficult, and we are losing them. So to put these organizations into a situation where not only are they seeing funding cuts in real time, but now they have to compete with others for provincial dollars is not a situation that the government should be putting us in. It's not moving forward. And that's why, we see, and people in the community are saying, the Ford government is failing to deliver the basics to the people of the province of Ontario, the basics that they need to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
The Liberals were talking about home care and asking the Auditor General to investigate the problems. I know you guys have been bringing up these issues a lot. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. First of all, our MPPs have been sounding the alarm on this. Even long before the return of the legislature last week, we've been bringing this to the attention of the Minister of Health. So she's known this was happening long before we came back to the legislature. An audit isn't a bad step, an audit of the contract, but I would say that we can't wait to turn this around for some audit to take place, right? We need Sylvia Jones to right now make sure that people have the supplies that they need, the medically necessary supplies they need immediately. I was in London just a couple days ago and talking to a home care, a nurse who oversees a bunch of other PSWs, et cetera, in home care, and was telling me some of the horror stories of what she's experiencing and the moral distress that healthcare workers working in home care right now are experiencing. This is a crisis. It needs to be addressed as such, and people can't wait. They can't wait another day for this to be fixed.
The Solicitor General had a press conference this morning where they're asking the federal government for criminal code reform to make it more, to keep people in jail in pretrial custody more often. They're asking for like a 3-strike system, taking away time served credits for pretrial custody, that sort of thing. What do you make of those recommendations? And do you support them?
Well, look, I'm going to look more carefully at what they're actually proposing, but I will say bail reform is one part. It's one piece of the puzzle. But this provincial government, I will say it galls me a little to see the Solicitor General and this other MPP talking about just bail reform when they are refusing to address an issue right here in Ontario that is under their control, which is the backlog and delays in our court system. So, bail reform is absolutely a part of the puzzle, but guilty people going free because our courts are understaffed and overwhelmed is something that this Solicitor General and this government should and could address right now. And so I would like to see them, and we've continued to raise this in the legislature and will continue to, but that to me is a bit galling. Like do something that you can actually control right now, address it.
They were asked about overcrowding in Ontario jails, and the Associate Auto Theft Minister acknowledged that provincial jails are perhaps more unpleasant than federal jails, but he and the Solicitor General said that they'll make room for whoever else is put into pretrial custody because of these rule changes. What do you make of that response? Is this government taking the overcrowding issue in jails not seriously enough?
Absolutely they're not, right? And we know that in doing so, they're putting a lot of lives at risk, including our correctional officers as well as inmates. But look, again, this is another example of a government that keeps, trying to shift the focus to someone else and make it somebody else's responsibility when they refuse to address the issues in their own backyard, the things they can control. Yes, absolutely. The state of our provincial correctional facilities, absolutely. And let's also acknowledge that a lot of the people in our correctional facilities right now are people who actually need mental health and addiction care and treatment. And we're not getting that either. and we're not making anybody better and healthier that way. So, but I cannot stress enough that if this government really wanted to address some of this whatever, I think they called it the revolving door of violence, why not actually start with something they can actually control, which is the state of our courts, the backlog and the delays, and we've talked about that here, time and time again. I would like to know why this Solicitor General refuses to address that.
The federal transportation minister, Anita Anand, sent out a letter to provinces this weekend asking them to do more about the rebinning of cars, stolen cars. And one of these things was to participate fully in the interprovincial record exchange. We just asked the Solicitor General and the Associate Auto Theft Minister about this, and they confirmed that Ontario is not participating in this exchange, although they say they are looking at it. What do you make of that?
Oh, look, I mean, this is a government that likes to talk about all kinds of measures, but they never seem to be interested in actually preventing the crime in the first place. They want to punish for the crime, absolutely, but they don't actually provide any measures that will prevent the crime from happening in the first place. I would just encourage the government once again to look at MPP Jennifer French's proposal for a registry of VIN numbers that police would already have access to. That is a preventative measure. We shouldn't have people having to go through this, the theft of their automobiles at all, right? We need to prevent it, not just punish for it. We also have to prevent those crimes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.